Caitlin Clark passes Chelsea Gray for 8th most double-doubles. Caitlin Clark is the fastest player in WNBA history to 400 career assists.
Caitlin Clark just made history. Again. Against Aja Wilson's Aces, she broke 2 massive WNBA records in one game, including becoming the fastest player ever to reach 400 assists.
This was her against Aja Wilson, pulling up for a long 3 right in Asia's face.
The pressure was insane. The crowd electric.
You want to see the Caitlin Clark
exaggeration.
effect? This is it right here. This is it. Look at this.
And even as her team fell apart, Clark stood alone, fighting, leading, and leaving it all on the floor. If you're riding with Caitlin, drop CC 100% in the comments right now.
No comparison to Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is the most must-watch basketball player in world basketball right now. There's nobody that does what Caitlin Clark does.
How special and rare Caitlin Clark is.
Caitlin Clark is a gifted player.
Caitlin is the one.
She's the biggest basketball star in the world.
Caitlin Clark didn't just show up. She made history. In a high-stakes matchup against Aja Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces, Clark broke 2 major WNBA records in a single night, solidifying her place as the league's rising legend.
Caitlin Clark passes Chelsea Gray for 8th most double-doubles by a guard in WNBA history.
First, she became the fastest player in WNBA history to reach 400 career assists.
Caitlin Clark is the fastest player in WNBA history to 400 career assists.
A mark that typically takes seasoned veterans years to touch. And she didn't stop there. She also passed Chelsea Gray to claim the 8th most double-doubles by a guard in league history. These are the kinds of records that don't just get handed out. They're earned under pressure in the spotlight. And that's exactly where Caitlin was. Cameras flashing, fans packed outside the arena hours before tip-off.
People are coming to tune in, and she's brought new viewerships.
All for her. Her name echoed louder than any other in that building, and she delivered.
WNBA rumors suggest Caitlin Clark will be among the first stars making $1 million annually. The most notable of which is, y'all already know who, the needle mover, Caitlin Clark.
So in 2024, she averaged 16.5 points per game, 4 assists, 5.5 rebounds. She shot 37% from the field and 31.8% from 3. Now, if you look at her preseason in 2025, she only played 2 games in this preseason, and one was against that Brazilian national team. She played 21 minutes. She averaged 14.5 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. She shot 52.5% from the field and 50% from 3-point range.
Despite being in a shooting slump from beyond the arc, just 1 of 10 from deep, Clark found other ways to dominate. She finished with 19 points and 11 assists, controlling the pace, setting up teammates, and exposing the Aces' defense possession after possession. One of her biggest moments came in the second quarter, when she pulled up for a deep 3.
One of the big highlights for Caitlin Clark, this was her against Aja Wilson, pulling up for a long 3 right in Asia's face.
Right in Aja Wilson's face. No hesitation, just ice-cold confidence. It didn't just count on the scoreboard, it sent a message. This wasn't a rookie shrinking under pressure. This was a record-breaking floor general rewriting the script in real time. But it wasn't just scoring. At one point in the first half, Indiana was 8 of 11 shooting off Caitlin's passes.
The Indiana Fever, this was in the first half. They were 8 of 11 from the field off of Caitlin Clark passes. All other field goal attempts, 6 of 19.
All other field goals, just 6 of 19. That stat alone shows the gravity she brings. Without her distribution, the Fever simply can't function. She's the engine, the spark, and the brain behind every successful possession.
Her explosion on this set is benefiting all the ladies.
In a league built on speed, strength, and precision, Caitlin is moving faster than anyone expected. Breaking 2 major records in one game against a powerhouse team like the Aces proves it's not hype, it's not luck, it's greatness. And the craziest part? She's just getting started. What makes Caitlin Clark special isn't just what shows up on the stat sheet. It's the way she plays, the way she carries herself, and the way she keeps rising.
And we also see the star power, the shine of a star.
We got CC at the top of the list.
No matter how many people want to see her fall. While breaking records made headlines, what really had everyone talking was how she did it, with vision, toughness, and the kind of skill that's earning her comparisons to the greatest to ever touch the ball. She's been called the Steph Curry of the WNBA.
And at times, she reminds me of the best of Bird, Jason Kidd, Chris Paul, John Stockton, all the legends.
And it's not just because of the logo threes. It's the rhythm, the release, the way every shot looks like it's going in the second it leaves her hands. And like Steph, she does it off the dribble, with defenders all over her, creating space where there shouldn't be any. It's not just talent. It's timing, IQ, and confidence. There are clips from this very game where she rises up for a long jumper mid-transition.
This was her against Asia Wilson, pulling up for a long three right in Asia's face.
Feet barely set, and it still drops. Pure muscle memory and rhythm.
Clark scored 32, dished out 9 assists to become the first player in WNBA history to have 100 points, 30 rebounds, 30 assists in a player's first 5 games of a season.
But her passing, that's where the conversation shifts from great shooter to generational point guard. Multiple former NBA players and analysts have said it. Clark has LeBron-level passing vision. She'll fire a 50-foot bounce pass through traffic, hit a cutter in stride without even looking, or swing it one-handed to the weak side before the defense even knows they've rotated wrong. These aren't plays you teach. They're instincts. She sees the game 2 steps ahead.
She's been able to bring the eyeballs so we can find out how good Collier is and how good Asia Wilson is and how good all these other women that are super talented are.
And that's why she leads the WNBA in assists. This game against the Aces was filled with those moments, threading impossible passes to Aaliyah Boston, running the 2-man game to perfection, even delivering behind-the-back feeds that caught defenders flat-footed. When she's on the court, the entire offense unlocks. When she's off, it crumbles. And what's more impressive is that she's doing all this while being one of the most targeted and criticized players in the league. She's heckled, pushed, undercut, and disrespected, on and off the court. Some call it rookie treatment. Others call it something uglier. But no matter how much hate she faces, Clark never stops showing up, never stops competing.
Caitlin Clark passes Chelsea Gray for 8th most double-doubles. Caitlin Clark is the fastest player in WNBA history to 400 career assists. This was her against Asia Wilson, pulling up for a long three right in Asia's face. The Indiana Fever, this was in the first half. They were 8 of 11 from the field off of Caitlin Clark passes. All other field goal attempts, 6 of 19. You want to see the Caitlin Clark exaggeration effect? This is it right here. This is it. Look at this.
She's taken hits that would rattle a seasoned vet and still pops back up like nothing happened. There's a reason she was called the Tiger Woods of women's basketball in one of the post-game reactions. Just like Tiger, people tune in because of her. Not the team, not the league, her. When she missed games recently, viewership dropped by 52%.
She is must-watch TV. I think when she was hurt a few weeks ago, they said viewership dropped by 52%.
That's not a small dip. That's a collapse. And it proves a truth some people don't want to admit. Caitlin Clark is the face of this league now, whether the WNBA likes it or not.
I think she has the Tiger Woods effect, the way he put golf fans in a craze. Whether you're a golf fan or not, you tuned in and you wanted to learn about the game because he was so incredible. I think she has that effect. The one thing I just don't like, and I don't care what people say, I feel like there's a lot of hate on Caitlin Clark, and I think because she's white. Because she's a hooper and she's going out there and bust people's ass every single night.
But it's not just about selling tickets. It's the effect she's having on how the game is played. She's speeding it up. She's stretching the floor. She's making the WNBA faster, flashier, more exciting. The Aces came into this game with a defensive game plan designed entirely around stopping her, and they still couldn't slow down her playmaking. Even her opponents. Even fans who don't want to like her can't help but acknowledge the skill. One commentator said it best. Every time Caitlin shoots the ball, I think it's going in. And that's how legends play.
Caitlin Clark shoots jump shots from the logo.
She does it. It's just so natural. And to your point, similar to Steph, her ability to do it off the dribble. Every time those two shoot the ball, I feel like it's going to go in.
She's playing with an edge too. That little bit of cockiness, that chip on her shoulder. And frankly, she's earned it. You don't survive this much media pressure, this much locker room jealousy, and this much physical punishment unless you have the fire inside to push through it. She's not here to just fit in. She's here to take over. Even her critics admit it. Without Caitlin Clark, this team is irrelevant. Without her, the Fever don't sell out arenas. They don't lead national highlights. They don't even have a shot. But with her, there's always a chance because she's not just playing basketball. She's shifting a culture.
The WNBA, they released numbers for NBA TV.
Caitlin Clark, Drew, 620,000 plus viewers on NBA TV.
It is a crazy high viewership. Crazy high for NBA TV.
Caitlin Clark makes her return. Caitlin Clark back in action, and 300,000 people showed up.
TV ratings are up 300% since Caitlin Clark entered the league.
Caitlin Clark did everything. She made history. She created plays out of nothing. She passed like a legend. And still, they lost. Not because she failed, but because once again, the team around her collapsed when it mattered most.
This team collapses against anybody. They collapse against everybody. And they've collapsed today. They've collapsed in other games. They collapse with Caitlin. They collapse without Caitlin. They collapse against good teams. They collapse against bad teams. They collapse against everybody. This team are choke artists.
And that's the tragedy of this game. Let's start with the obvious. The Fever had the aces. They had a double-digit lead against a struggling Las Vegas team that didn't look anything like the dominant back-to-back champions of last season.
What a frustrating result for the Indiana Fever as they blow a 10-point lead and just completely falter in the fourth quarter.
Aja Wilson had a nightmare first half. The Fever were rolling. The pick and roll between Clark and Aaliyah Boston was unstoppable. Fans were buzzing. Commentators were saying this was finally the game where Indiana would make a statement. But by the time the final buzzer sounded, the scoreboard told a different story. The Aces went on a massive run, 16-2 at one point, and the Fever melted. The offense became stagnant. The ball stopped moving. Clark, who had created everything good in the first half, was left isolated, cut off from the offense by bad rotations and a coaching staff that seemed lost. It was deja vu. As she stood on the court directing traffic, nobody cut. Nobody moved.
That's nice. And she was shooting the shit out of it.
Of course she was.
Right. So she was shooting the shit out of it. And
she's the face of the league.
Agreed.
She's the face of the league. Agreed.
Just have nothing but great things to say about who she is as a person. Just so welcoming and so warm as an individual that she can have a conversation with anybody. She's cut from the same cloth as me in that regard. You know what? Us Midwesterners, we tend to just, accept everybody with open arms. She was so kind to my family and everyone in the suite when she came to KC. So huge fans of Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark effect seems to be crazier than year one.
I love watching her score and just everything about her.
They went the extra mile just to watch her play here.
This is great news for women's basketball, period.
Caitlin Clark is the GOAT. She signed my jersey. So happy, I'm crying. I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
When she needed the ball in the fourth quarter, the system took it out of her hands. Again. But even with all that, she refused to quit. She clawed back. She hit tough shots. She picked pockets on defense. She created offense when everyone else froze. It wasn't enough, but that's not on her. This game revealed what fans and analysts have been shouting for weeks.
Caitlin threw that game away, but at least she tried to pull it back. The rest of the team, as soon as they went on a run, they just gave up.
Caitlin Clark is the only reason this team has any pulse. One stat made that painfully clear. In the first half, Indiana shot 8 of 11 off Clark's passes. All other possessions, just 6 of 19. When she's not running the show, this team can't score. It's not just a chemistry issue, it's an identity crisis. The Fever don't know who they are without her. They don't run, they don't move. They play slow, flat, predictable basketball. And by the time Clark tries to rescue them in the fourth, it's often too late. The coaching decisions have left fans furious. Why abandon the Clark-Boston pick and roll that dominated the first half?
The Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark pick and roll was fantastic. Aaliyah Boston had 18 first half points. And in the third quarter, they started off going to the CC Aaliyah Boston pick and roll as well. And they just went away from it.
Why give minutes to players who have produced nothing all season while your stars sit in crucial moments? Why take the ball out of the hands of the most electric passer in the league when the game is on the line? These aren't minor mistakes. They're sabotage. And through it all, Clark's body language said it all. Exhausted, frustrated, defeated, but still fighting. She had just made history, just carried the team for 3 quarters. And in the fourth, she was stranded. You could see it in her face. This wasn't just a loss. It was a weight she shouldn't have to carry.
Caitlin Clark is 23 years old, and she has the weight of the success of the WNBA on her shoulders.
Let's be clear. Clark's stat line wasn't flawless. She had 8 turnovers. She shot 1 of 10 from 3. But those numbers don't tell the story. Most of those turnovers came from forced passes into dead plays. Moments where she was trying to create something out of nothing because no one else would.
There's going to be stretches that are really good, and there's going to be stretches that aren't as good, and obviously it's frustrating. You want them to go in, and even tonight I felt like there was a few that felt really good off my hand, and it just didn't go down. And even the mid-range jump shot to start the fourth quarter and the 3 to start the fourth quarter, they both felt good off my hand. So it's just that's just frustrating. And
she's being asked to be the point guard, the scorer, the floor leader, the emotional compass, and the closer all at once. And still, she had 19 points and 11 assists. That's not just serviceable, that's heroic. The reactions from the fan base have been overwhelming, furious, heartbroken, not at her, but at a system that keeps wasting her greatness. One creator said it best, "This team has no backbone."
Clark scored 32, dished out 9 assists to become the first player in WNBA history to have 100 points, 30 rebounds, 30 assists in a player's first 5 games of a season.
No identity, and without Clark, they have nothing. Another compared the team's half-court offense to a stalled car. No movement, no spacing, just standing around while Caitlin tries to make something happen.
This team has collapsed with Caitlin. This team has collapsed without Caitlin. This team has collapsed with Caitlin playing well. This team has collapsed with Caitlin playing bad. This team has collapsed against good teams. This team has collapsed against bad teams. This team has no grit. This team has no determination.
And when she finally gets the ball back, she's expected to pull off miracles. Every single night. It's not just fans feeling it. Even analysts who were once neutral are calling out the obvious. This team needs to be built around Clark, not in spite of her. Enough of the experiments. Enough of taking the ball out of her hands. She's already proven, again and again, that when the offense runs through her, this team becomes watchable, competitive, and dangerous.
We need Caitlin. At the end of the day, Caitlin has to save this team. This team is Caitlin or bust, and we need her to step up and save this team because this team isn't good enough to save themselves.
When it doesn't, it's chaos. And maybe that's why this loss hurt more than most, because it wasn't just a missed opportunity. It was a reminder that Clark is giving everything and getting nothing in return. Her effort, her skill, her vision, it's all there. But until the organization commits to building around her, she'll keep running uphill, breaking records while dragging a franchise behind her. She didn't cry because she lost. She cried because she knows she gave them everything, and it still wasn't enough.
That's nice. And she was shooting the shit out of it.
Of course she was.
Right, so she was shooting the shit out of it. And
she's the face of the league.
Agreed.
She's the face of the league. Agreed.
Just have nothing but great things to say about who she is as a person. Just so welcoming and so warm as an individual that she can have a conversation with anybody. She's cut from the same cloth as me in that regard. You know what? Us Midwesterners, we tend to just, accept everybody with open arms. She was so kind to my family and everyone in the suite when she came to KC. So huge fans of Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark didn't just break records. She broke expectations. She walked into a game against a former champion, made history, carried her team, and still walked out without the win. Not because she failed, but because the system around her did. And yet she keeps showing up, keeps creating, keeps fighting.
Caitlin Clark effect seems to be crazier than year one.
I love watching her score and just everything about her.
They went the extra mile just to watch her play here.
This is great news for women's basketball, period.
Caitlin Clark is the GOAT. She signed my jersey. So happy, I'm crying. I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
While others crumble, she leads. That's what greatness looks like. And if the Fever don't rise to her level soon, they'll lose more than games. They'll lose the one player who's holding everything together.